Budgeting sucks. $150 for groceries? Since when? $45 on healthcare? Yeah, right. Budgeting is not for everyone, and we shouldn't have to budget if we don't want to, right? Right. Free yourself from the stress of mental math. In this digital and automated world, budgeting is becoming a thing of the past. We no longer have to sit down with pen, paper, and calculator to figure out where our money is going for the month. There's a better way to make sure our bills is paid, the savings is safe, money is invested, debt is handled, and we're living our lives. In this video, you'll learn the ultimate way to set up your bank accounts for a budget-free life. And by the end, you'll know exactly which accounts you need, how many to have, and the purpose of each. And the best part is that once you set it, you can forget it. No monthly budget sessions required. But first, allow me to introduce myself. This is Gage St, your financial safe space. And as for me, I'm a passionate financial strategist, encouraging and empowering busy career professionals like myself to manage money intentionally. My name is Free, and you're important to me. Your checking account is the hub of your financial life. It's a place where 65% of your financial activity happens. Under this system, this is the first account you must establish. But how many? 2. That's it, that's all. If you have more than 2 checking accounts, if you're like most people, you have several checking accounts. If you're like most people, you may not have any real strategy behind why you have them and what you use them for. Checking accounts are designed to be two-way street. Money flows in and out for everyday purchases and spending. It is not designed to hold large sums of money for savings and investment. There's simply no return on your investment, no ROI for doing so. Feel free to give your checking accounts clever names like Needs and Wants or my Care and Carefree account. One checking account is solely used for essential expenses or your needs. The other account is used for non-essentials or your wants. And here's how you use them. Your needs account pays for all of your essential expenses: housing, utilities, transportation, insurance, childcare, everything that is critical for you to function as an adult. Your needs account is also the place where your minimum debt payments come out of. Credit cards, buy now, pay later, personal loans, payday loans, medical debt, student loans. Calculate the total cost of essential expenses and your minimum debt payments. And make sure your employer deposits this amount in that account on a monthly basis. Placing some or all of these expenses auto pay will just elevate this budget-free system. And you have peace of mind knowing that as long as that direct deposit hits, your bills are paid, you pay your bills. Your wants account pays for all of your non-essential expenses. Think lifestyle or comfort purchase. Lattes, vacations, concerts, festivals, travel, shopping, the list goes on. The purpose of your wants account is to buy all of the things your heart desires, within reason, of course. This is where the fun happens. Every transaction or every purchase that is a nice to have because it makes your life more comfortable and more enjoyable comes out of this wants account. But hear me clearly, come in closely. This is where most people get it wrong, but you are not like most people. Most people have what I call transfer syndrome. Money goes into a checking account at the beginning of the month. Purchases are made. Money runs out. Money's transferred in. Purchases are made. Money runs out. Money is transferred in. Purchases are made. Money runs out. Money is transferred in. Purchases are made. And you know the rest. The cycle repeats itself over and over and over again throughout the month until the money that was allocated for bills, savings, and investments is spent. This does not have to be your reality. You are not transferring money from your needs account to your wants account by the 5th day of the month because you've completely run out of money. To avoid transfer syndrome, this wants account receives a specific amount of money every month. Call it an allowance of sorts. Whether it's $250 or $2,500, there's a limit. And with this strategy, you can tap that card away up until the limit. There's no need to budget for travel or restaurants or concerts or whatever you like to do, because in your mind, you know what your number is. But there's one rule. Your allowance must be less than the amount of money you save and invest on a monthly basis. You cannot spend more than you are saving and investing. Sweetie, that's hustling backwards. And you have financial discipline, okay? Once that money is gone, it's gone. Mind-blowing, I know. But this is how you establish financial confidence and reduce the stress of budgeting. That 3rd, 4th, and 5th checking accounts that you have is just collecting dust. You don't need to pay unnecessary monthly maintenance fees when you have $113 in all the accounts combined. So under this budget-free system, you're going to close them. These accounts serve no purpose. However, there is one exception. If you have kids that are teenagers or older, you may set up a checking account for each individual child, giving them a monthly allowance similar to your wants account, and let them use their checking account the same way you're using your wants account, and model the behavior that you want them to exhibit, which means if you don't want them to overspend, you see where I'm going with this? You don't overspend. But if you don't have kids, 2 accounts is all you need. Keep it simple. Your savings account is where your dreams go to prepare. It's where 5 to 10% of your financial resources must go. You want to save $10,000 in a year? It happens here. You want to take the vacation of a lifetime to the Seychelles Islands? It happens here. Under this system, you have one high-yield savings account. That's right, just one. Keep it simple. A high-yield savings account will give you a better ROI than a traditional savings. On average, a high-yield savings account interest rates varies between 2 to 3%, whereas your traditional savings is going to give you about 0.001% interest income. Yeah. So with a high-yield savings account, you'll earn money even with your money just sitting there. The key is to find a high-yield savings account with an interest rate equal to or more than the rate of inflation. And the current rate of inflation is 2.8%. This will ensure your money is growing at least at the rate of inflation, and you're not losing any purchasing power. Remember, strategy and intention. But how do you use it? Well, unlike your checking account, your high-yield savings account is a one-way street. Money goes in and very rarely does it come out. This is where you'll keep larger sums of money than what's moving in and out of your checking accounts. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And to elevate your budget-free system, make sure that your high-yield savings account is at a different banking institution than your checking account. If you like having savings categories, I would suggest opening a high-yield savings account with vaults or buckets, as they're called. This will allow you to save for certain purposes: travel, an emergency fund, car maintenance, home repairs. If you're just starting out or looking to grow your savings, watch this video here where I share 3 steps to save $10,000 in a year. Make sure your employer direct deposits a certain amount of money into your savings account every month. The only thing you need to do is figure out how much. And once you set the amount, you can forget it. Your employer will do the rest. But remember the rule: this amount, what you save, plus what you invest, must be greater than the amount of money that goes into your wants account on a monthly basis. And the reason why I share this rule is because through my experience, I've learned that lifestyle creep is a very real thing. Lifestyle creep is the tendency to increase our spending as our income rises, often resulting in our wants being perceived as needs at the sacrifice of our financial goal. And we want to avoid this. Now, your salary will increase if you're naturally good at what you do, and I know you are. The key is to make sure that your savings and investments are increasing too, in proportion to your spending and your salary increases. Remember, strategy and intention. Credit cards. Oh, what a complicated web you weave. Credit cards are like marriages. Easy to get in one, difficult to manage, and horrible to get out of if things go awry. Not to mention, nowadays it seems nearly impossible to adult successfully without one. You need it to rent a car, reserve a hotel, and start building credit. But it is often seen as a gateway to unnecessary and burdensome debt. If you're like most people, you have 4 credit cards or more. And if you're like most people, you found yourself using credit for necessities more and more over the last few years. Now, what I'm about to say is controversial, but I'm gonna say it and stand 10 toes. You only need 1 credit card, but that's not it. 1 credit card with a limit that is 5% or less than your net income. I'm gonna give you a second. Let that marinate. If your total available limit on all of your credit cards is greater than 5% of your net income, you, my friend, may have more credit available than what your income can actually support. Call the bank and have them lower it. They can do it. I know. I've done it twice. This does a few things. It prevents you from having too much debt, and it increases the likelihood that you'll be able to manage that debt effectively, paying off your balances in full every month. It keeps debt management simple and easy, and make sure that your hard-earned income, your hard-earned coin, is not being swallowed up by minimum debt payments. If you have more than 1 credit card, pay them off and stop using them. That money could be put to better use, especially if you don't have a savings or you're not quite as invested as you want to be. But how do you use them? Follow this simple rule. Credit cards are not free money, right? We know that. They must be paid back with interest. And oftentimes, if you look at your interest rate on your bank statement, it is high as hell. Make purchases on credit when you have the money, not because you don't. Use credit as a tool to build healthy debt management habits, not as a crutch to lean on when your income is insufficient. Avoid carrying balances month to month to reduce the risk of paying interest. And always, 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 always make the minimum payments on time. And if you have to carry a balance from one month to the next, make sure that it is 30% or less of the credit limit. Remember, strategy and intention. The real wealth building happens here in your retirement account. This is where you prepare for the day you never have to work again, period. Between 7 to 10% of your income should be retired. The more you contribute, the better off you'll be in your later years in life. But if you're like most people, you may not be contributing nearly enough to your 401k. Under this budget-free system, you need 2 retirement accounts. Your employer-provided account, like a 401k, and a Roth IRA. But how do you use them? Your 401k is maintained by your employer. When setting it up or making changes, it's important to think about the following. What age do you want to retire? Generally, you can take penalty-free withdrawals once you reach 59 and a half years old. How much will you need in retirement? There are plenty of retirement calculators out on the internet that will give tailored numbers, but a general good rule of thumb is to take your current salary, multiply it by 12, and this is your target number for retirement. It'll give you a rough estimate. How much do you want to invest? Keep in mind, typically your employer will allow you to invest a certain percentage of your salary into your 401k, between 3 to 6% on average. But also, it's important to note that a portion of what you invest in your 401k is tax-free. If you're under 50, it's $23,500. And if you're over 50, you get an additional $7,500. To elevate this budget-free system, invest in your 401k up to the percent that your employer will actually match if they allow it. Here's how it works. You select a certain percentage of your salary to invest every pay period, and your employer subtracts that amount from your pay. Some employers will go so far as to match the amount that you contribute from your own salary, and that's 100% return on your investment. You can't beat that. The amount that you contribute is subtracted from your gross salary, which reduces your tax liability for the year. Keep in mind, since the contribution is not taxed on the front end when it goes into your 401k, it will be taxed on the back end when you start to make withdrawals in retirement. Uncle Sam always wants his cut. And one of the benefits of having 401ks and actually contributing them while you're working is that should you decide to leave your employer, you can oftentimes roll it over into like a brokerage account and take the amount that you have vested into your 401k with you. You set up a Roth IRA at a brokerage like Vanguard, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, Fidelity. Your Roth IRA is completely owned and managed by you. It has nothing to do with your employer. You get to select the investments that you want to invest in. Stocks, mutual funds, bonds. Now, unlike with your 401k, your Roth IRA, the contributions is actually made with after-tax money. So being that it's taxed on the front end when you contribute to the Roth IRA, you won't be taxed on the back end when you go to make withdrawals in retirement. You must be 59 and a half years old and have your Roth IRA account for at least 5 years to take your withdrawals tax and penalty free. The contribution limits are smaller with a Roth. If you're under 50, you can contribute $7,000, and if you're over 50, it's $8,000. Here's how it works. Decide how much you want to contribute to your Roth IRA for the year. Take that number and divide it by 12. This is going to be your monthly contribution to your Roth. Set up recurring transfers from your checking account to your Roth IRA on a monthly basis. Remember the rule. This amount plus the amount you save must be greater than what you spend on your want monthly. Similar to your savings, the purpose of your retirement account is to grow. The money is not doing you any favors, just sitting there. Now you're aiming for a rate of return as high as possible, typically between 6, 8, 10% on average annually. Now, if anyone is telling you they can consistently get you 15, 20, 30% returns on your retirement or investments, they're a bold-faced lie, because we know economics, the market moves up and the market moves down. So just Keep that in mind. Your 401k and your Roth IRA are the accounts that is going to help you build wealth for your future self. Remember, strategy and intention. Are you ready to get rich quick? Let me hear you say get rich quick. Just kidding. There's no such thing. Wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. And anyone that tells you different, they a bold-faced lie. The next account you'll want to set up in your budget-free system is an investment account. 10% of your income should be invested. And unlike your retirement account, there are no age requirements for when you're able to take withdrawals. You can withdraw money at any point. But keep in mind, Uncle Sam is going to want his cuts on any capital gains, often being taxed at 0, 15, or 20%, just giving your marginal tax rate. But let's back it up, because how do you use your investment account? This account is used for short-term and long-term investing. Watch this video where we dive deep into investing, especially if you're a beginner. If it's out, I'll link it above. We talk about dividend investing, growth investing, understanding your risk tolerances, and more. You'll set up an account at a brokerage. In best case scenario, it may even be at the same brokerage that your Roth IRA is set up at. And decide how much you want to invest monthly. Set up recurring automatic transfers from your checking account to your brokerage account on a monthly basis. Remember the rule. This amount plus what you save must be more than what you spend on a monthly basis. And now you get to select the types of investments that you want to purchase. Stocks, bonds, ETFs, crypto, gold, treasuries. A financial advisor or a CFP will be in a great position to help you build your investment portfolio, given your risk tolerances and your goals. Similar to your retirement account, your investment account's purpose is to grow your money, making your money work for you. And along the same fashion, it should be 6%, 8%, 10% on average annually. And anyone that tells you anything different, especially if it's inflated numbers, inflated returns on a consistent basis, that is just not what happens in real life. Don't be bamboozled, okay? All right. Remember, strategy and intention. Listen, we are not immortal. Wait. That made me think of Mortal Kombat. Did you play Mortal Kombat when you were younger? Am I dating myself? If you know what I'm talking about, finish the line. Get over. You're watching this video, which means that you're breathing, which means that you're alive, which means you need life insurance, friend. If you're like most people, it may be something you thought about, but really haven't placed any priority on. I'm here as your financial strategist to think about the things you have not and to emphasize the things that you should focus on. We all need life insurance. So the last account you'll set up in this budget-free system is a life insurance policy, especially if you have house, student loans, nieces, nephews, kids, parents, siblings, godkids, animals. You can start a life insurance policy online or by working with a financial advisor. The total payout amount and the amount that you pay monthly is totally up to you. However, there are a few things to consider. And these are some questions that I asked myself when I started my life insurance policy. What is your total debt liability? Now, let me be clear. There are a lot of debts that will be discharged once you go home, should I say. But what I recently learned was that your mortgage and or student loans may not necessarily be discharged once you're no longer here. So it's important to have a clear understanding of what your total debt liability will be, because that is a hefty burden to leave with your loved ones once you do go to sleep. The next question is, how much will it cost to celebrate your life? Now, on average, the cost can range about $8,300, but speaking from experience, I've seen services go tens, 20s, 30s of thousands. So be sure to plan for it. And how much do you want to leave your beneficiary? The most overlooked way to transfer wealth for the common person is through life insurance, especially if your financial affairs are already in order. And although it is very much a sad situation, it can be a great way to give money to your siblings, your kids, spouses. I got life insurance in my 20s. And although I don't have kids, I do have a younger brother, a mother, and a father. God, kids, and just people that love me. And should I decide to leave here early, although I do not want to, but should he decide to go ahead and call me home, I would want to leave them with something to remember me by. I would want them to be able to celebrate my life and grieve without having to think about how to get my financial affairs in order and where the money is going to come from. Can you imagine? Yeah, let's avoid that. There are 5 types of life insurance: term, whole life, universal, variable, and final expense. The key of a life insurance policy is essentially to have enough money to do a couple things. One, it got to pay for any debt that you have outstanding that is not discharged. Two, it also has to pay for your celebration of life. And three, be able to leave your beneficiaries with a little something. Remember, strategy and intention. Setting up this account structure will free you from the need to budget. And now that you have this simple and effective way to manage your money, watch this video where I share 4 money milestones you'll want to achieve in your 20s. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe. Peace.